Leftists honor Ruth Bader Ginsberg and her life by becoming full-on terrorists. The left have become full-on terrorists with the support of social media. I mean that quite literally. The definition of terrorism is the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. We'll examine what they did in a moment. Now let's compare and contrast how social media and the left treat people that defend Kyle Rittenhouse merely for stating that he didn't do anything wrong, as happened in the case of a Gateway pundit reporter, Cassandra Fairbanks, I believe, who stated that, and she was suspended from Twitter. You speak in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse, who even the leftist rag, the New York Times, declares in all likelihood acted in self-defense. You can't do that. And the same thing for Facebook. If you come out in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse in any way, then you are deemed to be glorifying violence, the same as Twitter, and you will be banned from the platform. Jolly good, jolly good. Let's have freedom of speech for some. Let's defend the freedoms of some people on a public forum. And this is why we need to get rid of 230 protections for them, because they are becoming full-on editorials. However, what they will allow in the wake of RGB's death, by the way, I fully admire her. She lived a fabulous life. It's one that we should all aspire to. And there were a lot of decisions of hers that I'm sure I would have agreed with, some that I would have disagreed with, but I honor you, Ruth Bader Ginsberg. Congratulations on your fabulously led life. You reached across the aisle and had friendship with conservative justices, which is no longer allowed today because they are of different political ideologies. And this is being expressed fully on Twitter. Crazy person, Reza Aslan, who used to be, of course, on CNN, wrote, if they even try to replace RBG, we burn the entire fucking thing down. And then he continues to make sure that his point was clear with another tweet stating, over our dead bodies. Literally. Another blue check mark on Twitter, the Twitterati. If McConnell jams someone through, there will be riots. That's not a threat, is it? That's not a threat of violence, is it, Twitter? Yet, you can't even say that Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. But you can threaten people with violence. Hey, because you're on the right-hand side of the aisle. And by right-hand side, I mean left side of the aisle. According to Jack and his Twitter comrades. Another blue check mark writes, may her memory be a revolution. And another one says, F no, burn it all down. Yes, once again, this is what's allowed if you have the right politics according to Twitter. You are allowed to get away with 10 times, a million times more than somebody on the right-hand side of the aisle who said that Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong, because that's glorifying violence. But hey, you can call for revolution. You can call for burning it all down. Yes, you can call for the destruction of Congress. Now let's take a look at some of our favorite blue politicians. Native American Elizabeth Warren writes, and by the way, I have more black blood in me than, according to my 23andMe test, than Elizabeth Warren has Native American. So if she gets Native American privileges, such as preferential treatment in the workplace, then I want usage of the N-word. Now, anyways, let's take a look at what Lizzie wrote. Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump will try to name a new justice with just weeks to the election. This is the last desperate gasp of a corrupt Republican leadership that doesn't reflect the views or values of our people. Let me be clear, no confirmation before the election. Yes, it doesn't represent the views of 50% plus of the people, Elizabeth, because everybody, according to you, must have your view. And also, are you suggesting that it would be corrupt for Trump to use his constitutionally given authority to nominate and pass through a Supreme Court justice? I'm sorry, what is corrupt about that? What is corrupt about that is your framing of the event, your intention to rile people up to your cause by framing it as corrupt. With Twitter allowing people to call for revolution, for destroying Congress, for destroying Mitch McConnell, for any sort of semblance of violence, but not being able to give Kyle Rittenhouse so much as a thumbs up. You're blackmailing us. These are terroristic threats that you are making. All the leftists that say, burn it down, we must support RGB, we cannot allow Donald Trump to nominate someone. Chuck Schumer, in fact, said that they shouldn't be a nomination until we have a new president. Huh? Are you kind of going along your wishes? Should we wait till 2025? Because Donald Trump, I certainly hope at this point, is going to win another 4 more years. So you want to wait until that happens. Not even until after the election, but a new president. That is what Chuck Schumer said. We have to stand up to these terrorists. And that's literally the definition of what they are espousing right now. And in fact, doing with these nightly, mostly peaceful protests. The damage, the destruction, the death, the violence. Yeah, but they're mostly peaceful because that's the way that the media is framing them. Furthermore, with an election coming up that is going to be very hotly contested, with the Democrats attempting to rig it by allowing mail-in ballots for the first time because of COVID, despite the fact that both Fauci and Birx, our doctors on the scene, said that it would be perfectly acceptable to vote in person, and the fact that you encourage all sorts of mass protests in the wake of BLM because it suited your political agenda. But we absolutely cannot allow the Supreme Court to be deadlocked 4-4 come the election results, that when they go to them and they deem many of these votes to be fraudulent, whatever might be the case, this would potentially destroy our republic, much to the amusement and to the benefit of China, who desires to take over the world. This would be potentially the end of democracy as we know it. If we lose faith in the republic, if we lose faith in the fairness of our elections, then what is the point? This is what leads to the rise of totalitarianism. This is what might invoke a civil war. So we absolutely must have these seats filled that RGB left. And God bless her. I mean that. I admire her. Let's fill that seat, and we will not give in to these terroristic threats. This is not the way that we built up America. America has always stood up against totalitarianism that you wish to invoke. These terroristic threats that the left is increasingly amplifying all around. Where is the goodwill towards another American? If you have the wrong politics and you're on the right-hand side of the aisle, you're banned from Twitter, you're banned from Facebook. Violence can be committed against you, because this is allowable, because you have the wrong views, because you're a deplorable. These words have consequences. When Lizzie Warren uses the word corruption, corrupt, that is a false framing. This is certainly within his rights to do so. There's nothing corrupt about it, you lying biatch. Looking down the road, we cannot allow this election and the results to go to the Supreme Court and have it end in a deadlock. No way, no how. Too big a threat to our society. And even if you disagree with Trump filling the seat, that is the potential result that we have to avoid, because that would lead to catastrophe. We all have to be able to look at the potential costs of action, or in this case, inaction, because we are too scared and we yield to the demands of these radicalized Looney Tunes radical leftists that threaten us with terrorism, that commit it on a daily basis. It's a recipe for disaster, and we have to pull back from the brink, because frankly, I think that we are potentially over that edge already. Share this video and give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel, notification bell. Peace and blessings to everybody out there.